I'm Peter Burka, Director of Racket Sports at Sunset Ridge Country Club, PPTA P1 paddle professional, and I'm joined by fellow pros, Gene Kempner, fellow PPTA pros, Gene Kempner, Marina O'Mueller, and Chris Mullen. Gene's from Evanston Golf Club, Marina from Winter Club of Lake Forest, and Chris also from Evanston Golf Club. And I'm going to focus on the aspects of warm weather paddle. And the ball tends to get, it's a little warmer in that first couple months, October, November, and it's really live, and we're going to talk about some important items that will allow you to be more successful in those first few months. Let's get started. All right, the first aspect of warm weather paddle that you're going to look to focus on is on the drives, keeping your backswing short. The ball reacts like a super ball a lot of times when you are playing in the warmer weather. So you have to be able to control it. You have to put a little more spin on it and also shorten up the backswing. So I'm going to hit a few balls here, show you what it looks like. As the ball's coming, short backswing, just looking to brush, a little bit low to high. And really the spin is your best friend. If you have a little bit of extra topspin, you can kind of still swing away at the ball, and you can ideally control the ball better. But keeping the backswing short and not really going too far back with it makes it a lot easier. So you're looking to really keep it short and sweet, low to high. If you don't hit with topspin, I suggest trying to learn that spin, because that is one of your best friends in the warm weather. It'll keep that ball in play. It allows you to swing away. So that's aspect number one. All right, one of the biggest aspects of warm weather paddle is your volley, and it's going to be harder to control. So the way you approach this shot is the tension in the arm, I think, is one of the biggest things you can do in warm weather. So I'm going to hit a few balls here. Watch my paddle here. I'm going to keep it in close, but really I'm going to use that non-dominant hand to take pressure off of my dominant hand. And that way I won't be squeezing it, I won't be reaching out, because if I go out a little bit in warm weather paddle, that ball will fly on me. I'm going to be in close in the warm weather. I'm going to be loose with the arms, enough to keep obviously squeezing enough to keep the paddle steady, but I'm really not looking to go out forward towards it. I'm going to let the ball come to me, contact the ball within probably a 12-inch span from my paddle to my chest, and not a far distance at all, and I'm just going to absorb the pace each and every time. So it's one of the most important things you can do in probably any weather, but in warm weather, you really have to make sure that you're in close on the volley, because that ball will go in warm weather. That's aspect number two.
So I noticed, Peter, when you were hitting those volleys, you made the contact with your paddle, and you actually retracted your paddle after contact. Is that how you take the pace off the ball?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when the balls are coming to you, you have to be able to go backwards a little bit, because if it's hit, let's say 30, 40 miles an hour, the ball will just fly on you, and you have to take pace off. The volley should be a slower ball that's struck than the drive. If the drive's faster than your volley, then you're doing all right. If you start to match pace, you get in trouble. So yes, if that paddle goes backwards, you're going to take pace off, and you're going to make more volleys because of it. All right, the third aspect is the way the ball behaves in the screens. And if you're the team at the net, you've got to be able to take pace off that overhead. Otherwise, the backcourt's going to have opportunities to drive the ball. So we'll do a few here, show you what we mean. So we lob up, and all of a sudden that ball's hit hard. I can drive that ball and be aggressive on these. So again, I can come in, and it's just much more of a drive opportunity if they hit it too hard. Now look how far in I'm in on this one. I'm in a couple feet, I'm in the blue. The closer I get to the volley, the tougher it is for them. So on your overhead, you're really looking to take pace off that, and that will keep the opponents back behind the baseline. For me, I'm hoping to lob deep. I hope I'll get opportunities in warm weather to maybe drive more off this. I'll use the screens more. They're my friend even more. So in October and into November. So look for those opportunities. If you're in the backcourt, if you're at the net, try to take a little bit of pace off. It also gives you the opportunity to take the net if we want to do a couple of those. If they overhit it, when we get a ball kind of in between, we can come on in, and we'll get opportunities then to steal the net a lot more in this weather than when it gets colder. So that's another thing to look for with the warm weather paddle.
Great warm weather tips, Peter. I have a question. When we're serving, I know when it's warm, it's a lot harder to keep the serve in. You have any tips for that?
Yeah, I think it's, more spin, just, trying to relax your grip again. Grip pressure is a big item for just controlling the ball in general, but in warm weather, taking the tension off, relaxing the arm, using spin. Spin is your friend. That'll make it easier to control the ball and not give opportunities to your opponents off the screens again, because that's the biggest thing in those first 3 months of the season. You'll see just a lot of opportunities for your opponents off the screens, and you're trying to minimize those. You're really looking to just take a little off, make them generate their own pace. Maybe they overhit because of the warm weather, and so that's a couple ways to do it.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, to wrap it up, we talked about 3 important aspects for warm weather paddle. The first was the drive, and we said short backswing, use more spin. That'll allow you to control that ball and keep it in play more often. The second was the volley, relaxing the grip pressure, just keeping your arm loose, in close. The paddle might even go backwards to absorb pace a little bit. And the third item is the behavior of the ball in the screens. And if you're hitting overheads, you don't want that ball to come off the screen too much, because if it's overhit, you're going to get drive opportunities for your opponents. And so you're trying to take a little off the overhead. Off the screens, though, if you are getting those good looks, look to lob deep, because you are going to get better looks in the corners. The ball will sit up, you can get underneath it, you can lob it nice and high. And so those things are going to work to your advantage in warm weather. One other bonus thing I'll give you is drop shotting is maybe not the best idea in warm weather paddle, because it's easy to run down. And so that, as it gets colder, definitely look to add that into your game. And I'd like to thank our fellow PPTA pros who helped in on the drill.